Hello everyone. Today, we're going to talk about cults and brainwashing.
The reason brainwashing works within a cult is because there is that peer pressure. Things that seem normal in the real world seem that way because everyone accepts them, while abnormal things seem normal in a cult environment because everyone within the group accepts them.
And a lot of it's accomplished by environmental control, social isolation, information control.
Cult leaders create a new normal by manufacturing people's worlds.
And then once the person has accepted that program, then you move to the third stage, which is reinforcement.
You need people to continue to believe and continue to stay in a cult once it's established.
Now, there has been a lot of research into the art of brainwashing and trying to figure out how a normal person can get indoctrinated into a cult or belief system. I think for normal, free-thinking people, it's easy to be confused about how an otherwise intelligent adult could believe that the Earth is flat, or that there are only two genders, or that racism is not a systemic problem. According to how stuff works, brainwashing is often implemented in the form of social influence. It's the collection of ways in which people can change other people's attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors. For instance, the compliance method aims to produce a change in a person's behavior and is not concerned with his attitudes or beliefs. It's the just do it approach. Persuasion, on the other hand, aims for a change in attitude, or do it because it'll make you feel good, /happy, /healthy, /successful. The education method, which is called the propaganda method, when you don't believe in what's being taught, goes for the social influence gold, trying to affect a change in the person's beliefs along the lines of do it because you know it's the right thing to do. Brainwashing is a severe form of social influence that combines all of these approaches to cause changes in someone's way of thinking without that person's consent and often against their will. Now, I know where all you disgusting right-wingers' thoughts are going right now.
I was bound up in a straitjacket, and McGulliver was strapped to a headrest with wires running away from it. Then they clamped lid locks on my eyes so that I could not shut them, no matter how hard I tried. It seemed a bit crazy to me, but I let them get on with what they wanted to get on with. If I was to be a free young Malchik again in a fortnight's time, I would put up with much in the meantime, oh my brothers.
A stark new warning from Dr. Anthony Fauci, who says even if effective vaccines are produced,
I think it will be easily by the end of 2021 and perhaps even into the next year.
You can forget these images from March. Bare shelves at stores coast to coast. Toilet paper, disinfectant, and hand sanitizer scarce. Now, with election uncertainty and new COVID surges, 57% of consumers surveyed say they are stocking up.
The seasons are against us.
When winter comes, we will find ourselves in a very difficult position.
2020 could be the darkest winter in modern history.
This morning, the hospitals in El Paso are full, so now mobile medical tents are being set up outside to treat the rapidly growing number of COVID patients.
Wear a mask, wear a mask. Is this really much to ask? Tie some fabric round your face, oh, it's the simplest of tasks. At the gym, at the store, don't treat it like such a chore. No, these mandates aren't malicious. All your theories are fictitious. Stop the lies, stop the fights. No one's taking away your rights.
Get me up. I want to be sick. Get something for me to be sick in.
Very soon now, the drug will cause the subject to experience a death-like paralysis, together with deep feelings of terror and helplessness.
I can't stand it anymore.
You might be starting to think about Thanksgiving Day plans. The CDC has some recommendations on how to celebrate since we're still in a pandemic. Skip travel this year. Stay home to decrease your chances of being exposed to COVID-19. Have a small dinner, limit it to the people you live with. Prepare meals and deliver them to your family and friends without making contact, especially if they're high risk. And try a virtual dinner. You can still share recipes and enjoy the holiday. There's a moderate risk idea too, a small outdoor dinner with family and friends who live in your community. Just make sure you encourage face masks and social distancing.
Sure, fear has been used as a primary tool for brainwashing in the past. According to this post I found, which I'm not going to fact check because it helps support my point, it states, in the 60s, the KGB did some fascinating psychological experiments. They learned that if you bombard human subjects with fear messages non-stop, in 2 months or less, most of the subjects are completely brainwashed to believe the false message, to the point that no amount of clear information they are shown, to the contrary, can change their mind. This line of thinking, that COVID and/or the social justice movement and/or global warming is part of some elaborate government conspiracy, is absurd. Do you really think the elitists are that seedy and savvy enough to be involved in deep underground sex rings and pushes for socialism and attempts at manipulating and controlling the people? What, just because some 15 billionaires own the entirety of the media? Name one time in history that a governing body did not have the best interests of the people in their heart. Okay, so even if that is what's happening, the science supports all this stuff, and there are real-life people suffering from it every day. People are dying from COVID, smoking, drinking, cars, dangerous sports, increased natural disasters, poverty, being held down in the world because of race, gender, and sexuality.
Kneel before me. I said. Is not this simpler? Is this not your natural state? It's the unspoken truth of humanity that you crave subjugation. The bright lure of freedom diminishes your life's joy in a mad scramble for power, for identity. You were made to be ruled. In the end, you will always kneel.
Not to men like you.
There are no men like me.
There are always men like you.
Look to your elder people. Let him be an example.
Frankly, I don't think we're doing a good enough job brainwashing in this country. There are these stubborn people who seem to have some weird acceptance of death and injustice and think that it's somehow people's liberties to make choices, even if those choices lead to a negative outcome, which simply isn't acceptable if even one person is suffering or so much as even gets their feelings hurt.
You know what? We're gonna leave this here for you so you can see what 1,200 people actually look like. Keep following them up, guys.
So, we're at that point in my video where I offer solutions. But this time, I'm honestly at a loss. We social justice warriors are fed up. We tried things the nice way, appealing to the emotions you clearly don't have, trying to brainwash you into tolerance and virtuous lifestyles. Close enough is not good enough. We will not stop until the death toll related to human behavior is 0, until the number of people who are poor is 0, until the number of people who face prejudice is 0, until every person with an alternative lifestyle or sexuality is patted on the back by everyone.
You are here because you would not accept people's differences, because you refuse to accept the life choices of your fellow man. Well, those days are now over. Here you will work every hour of every day until you submit to being tolerant of everybody. Here, intolerance will not be tolerated.
To summarize, I will say, brainwashing and cults may have a negative reputation, but in our case, it's to save the world. And I will make one last plea to all of you calloused people out there. Kneel. Because if you don't, we will make you. This has been S2JW. That stands for Super Social Justice Warrior, not Slave Driver Social Justice Warrior. Signing out.